Hello, my name is Brittany and I am a teacher with Qkids. Thought I would make a video that goes over the entire hiring process. The hiring process consists of the application, obviously, then demo interview 1, demo interview 2, and trial classes. So I'm just going to go through and try to briefly explain what each of the parts entail and try to give you some tips and advice. So after you apply on the Qkids website, they will email and let you know whether or not your application passed. If they say that your application passed, they will invite you to move forward to demo interview 1. And the email will have instructions on exactly what they would like for you to do. But there's a couple things that email will ask. It will ask that you download the messaging app that they use, and it is called WeChat. And you can download it on your phone and on your computer. And they also give another option for a different messaging app if for some reason you have a hard time with WeChat. So you download that, and they will also give you a contact name. And in that app, you will reach out to that contact name and they will get back to you as soon as they are able. Always remember the time difference. If you download that app in the middle of the afternoon, it's the middle of the night for them in China. So, but they will respond. But just always remember that throughout the entire hiring process, that sometimes it can take a little while for them to respond. So once you send a message to the contact person, they will get back to you and they will confirm a date and time that you can do your demo interview 1. Then they will send you a link to download the Qkids software, and they'll give you some additional instructions. So you can download the Qkids software and immediately you can go in and begin preparing by looking through the training. The training that Qkids provides, in my opinion, is very thorough and really sets you up for success. So they have it divided into different modules basically. And to prepare for demo 1, in the software, you will go to the third tab, which is certificates and resources, and you will see what you have been assigned, which is A through D. And you just go through all of those. Some of them are videos, and there's a couple slides that detail more about Qkids and the hiring process. And then they get more into the way that classes actually work. And they will tell you in their communication with you, and the training also lays out that the point of demo interview 1 is for you to demonstrate that you can use the Qkids software effectively. There is a toolbar across the top that has several different things you can click on that you would use during class. So you need to be sure that you know the whole toolbar. There is also some different settings for the teacher, as well as some settings for each of the students in the class. And all of this will be gone through very thoroughly in the training. And you will see in the training where it says practice classroom for demo interview 1. So it's telling you right there that this is the practice classroom for demo 1. And what that means is that practice classroom that you have access to in the training is the exact same classroom where you are going to meet your interviewer. So if you spend plenty of time in that classroom, you know how everything works, you know how to do all of the different games and the parts of the class, then you are going to be completely prepared. During my first interview, after I had demonstrated that I knew how to use the toolbar and check each student's settings and my settings, she said, okay, pretend that I'm a 5-year-old and teach me this game. And everything that I had heard about Demo 1 said that it was not like that, that you just demonstrated the software, that there was not teaching involved. So this threw me off a little bit, but I had spent a lot of time in the training and in the practice classroom, so thankfully I knew how to teach the games and I was able to teach that one to her. She asked me to do one more, so I did 2 games total, and I didn't have to do the whole game. She just asked me to demonstrate a little bit of it. So definitely be prepared for that. So be sure that you are going through every part of that practice classroom, and the games that are included, be sure that you decide how you would teach that. So when I was preparing, thankfully, I had pretended that I was teaching. I pretended there was a child in front of me, and I went through what I would do. So when she asked me to do that, I was prepared. So know how to do everything in the classroom, basically click everything, figure out what everything is. The training will tell you what everything is, but I really suggest that you just click, click, click and figure out what everything does. After you know all of that, be sure that you go through all of the games that are in your practice classroom. So if your interviewer asks you to teach a couple of them, you will be prepared. If the interviewer does not ask you to teach them, well, you'll still have to know them to be a Qkids teacher, so you'll already be ahead of the game. So at the end of your demo interview one, your interviewer will more than likely at that point ask you to go ahead and move forward. Sometimes they will say, we'll be in touch in 24, 48 hours or whatever. But for most of the people that I have talked to, they go ahead and let people know at the end of the interview that they would like you to move forward, and they go ahead and schedule demo two. Don't necessarily panic though if the interviewer does not. They have many interviewers and they all do things in different ways. But one way or another, they will let you know if you pass that interview. So after that, then the next part is demo two. And before demo two, just like they did for the first interview, they will send you some additional training. And this additional training will have more games in it and more details about the Qkids classroom. Now, during demo interview two, no matter the interviewer, you will have to teach the games. And again, in the training, there is a practice classroom that will say practice classroom for demo two, and it is the exact same classroom where you will meet your interviewer for demo two. So again, if you spend plenty of time in there practicing and you know all the games, you will do great. The games in the second interview will be different from the ones that you either did not teach or did teach the first interviewer, but just go through all of them and make sure that you are familiar. And there is plenty of videos and instructions in the training on how to best teach each game and what Qkids is looking for exactly during each game. So spend plenty of time preparing for that, and the interviewer will say, okay, pretend I'm a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, whatever, and teach me these games. And you will start teaching, and it will feel silly because it is an adult, but that's just part of it. So be sure you practice doing that. And more than likely, the interviewer will make a mistake. So say one of the games you're teaching is new vocabulary words, and you ask her, the student, to repeat after you. She will probably say it incorrectly because they want to know how you will handle that. And a big part of teaching online is that you need to correct mistakes very quickly. So if they pronounce the word incorrectly, be sure that you pronounce it correctly again until the interviewer gets it correct. And they may do some other things. I'm not sure. They may have a lot of questions, or I've also heard sometimes an interviewer pretends to be a shy student and won't talk. So you'll just have to practice being engaging. I wouldn't say that they're trying to make this difficult for you by any means. Qkids is super understanding, and I felt super patient during these interviews. I made a couple mistakes and it was fine. They just asked me to do it again after they gave me some feedback. So just be prepared though that your interviewer will pretend to be a student, and think about how you will correct incorrect pronunciation. What will you do if a student does not respond? Just different little things like that. So during demo two, they will go through a couple games with you and have you teach a couple. And then at the end of demo interview two, again, they will either invite you to move forward or they will say we will be in touch. If you pass demo two, the next step is trial classes. And trial classes are classes with real students. So they will book you classes and they will put students in those classes, and you will be on your own and you will go teach these classes. And this is where they will really get an idea of what kind of teacher you are and if you are the best fit for Qkids. So there is a range of trial classes that teachers are asked to do. Some teachers are asked to only do 2 trial classes and then they are hired, and other teachers are asked to do up to 5 and then they are hired. I was asked to do 5. So it just depends. Don't get upset if after you do 2, they ask you to do a few more. That's fine. It takes everyone, a little bit different lengths of time to pick all of this up. It is a lot to learn. And after each trial class, they will give you feedback. What happened for me at the end of demo interview 2 is she said, we would like to invite you to do trial classes. Could you do this time and this time on this day? So it was for 2 days later, and that time worked for me, so that was great. So the next day, I was able to log into the Qkids software, and the classes were loaded onto the front page. When you open the Qkids software, it always opens to the class schedule page. So that is where you will see any classes that you have scheduled. So I opened the software and saw both of the classes that I had, and I was able to enter each of the classrooms ahead of time so I could see what the lesson was about and I could prepare myself. And because I had been through all of the training, I was familiar with all of the games, but I made notes about which games were included in these classes and went back and reviewed the training about each class. So after preparing, which you can spend as much time in the class as you want. If you are able to see the classes the day before, then you can go in and out of the classroom as many times as you need to so you can be prepared for the classes when they come up. So after I taught those 2 classes, I waited, and the next day I got an email from my trainer, and she said, you did great, here's some feedback, and here's some things that you could do differently. She included some screenshots, and she included some videos of teachers teaching the way that Qkids would like these particular games and lessons to be taught. And at the end of that email, she said, I would like to schedule you for 2 more trial classes. So we worked out the dates and times for that, and she scheduled me 2 more. And again, I went in the software, previewed the classes, and prepared. And I took into consideration all of the feedback that she had given me. So I had trial class 3 and 4 and waited, and she got back to me. And again, she said, you did good, and here's some feedback. And at the end of that email, she said, I would like to schedule you for 1 final trial class. I prepared, spent lots of time doing that, and then I taught my trial class, my 5th one, and I waited, and she got back to me, and thankfully it said, great job, you are hired. So that was my experience with trial classes. Again, like I said, some teachers do 2, some teachers do 5, some do anywhere in between. You are paid for all of them. So to me, it isn't that big of a deal if you were asked to do 5. So like I said, she emailed and said that I was hired, and then I was able to email in my schedule and start working the next week. So that's basically how the hiring process works. You do the 2 interviews and then some trial classes. And I wouldn't say that the hiring process is complicated. They just want to be sure that you are familiar with everything and that you know how it works. Like I said, the training to me is very thorough and really does set you up for success. So I feel like if you spend plenty of time going over all of the videos, and you spend plenty of time in the practice classroom clicking everything and then pretending to teach a class. If you do all of those things, then you will be more than prepared and you should do a great job. If you have any other questions or if I left anything out, please feel free to comment. My email address will be listed down below if you would like to email me instead. If there is another topic that you would like me to cover regarding Qkids, please leave that as well. I enjoy making videos and helping people out because I know when I was in the process that I was frantically searching YouTube in hopes that I would come across exactly what I needed. So I guess that's about it. If you are currently in the hiring process with Qkids, no matter what step, good luck. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. I know it's stressful, but you got this. Just do everything that you can do to prepare. If you have not applied for Qkids yet, the link to the website will be in the description box also. Have a great day.